Hello，你好，Welcome back，欢迎回来to Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger. Today's date is Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Now, when you guys watch Chinese movies, especially historical dramas, you probably have heard something like this. Usually at night time, and you see a guy walking around the town playing on a cymbal or some kind of brass instrument and something like this. 天干物燥，小心火烛。天干物燥，小心火烛。Something like that. That's a poor imitation because I don't have the right instrument. I had to improvise that. But I'm sure those of you who watch a lot of Chinese movies, that is very familiar to you. So today we are going to uh, talk about what are those guys? What exactly are they doing? Everyone else is sleeping, and they are walking around the street making a racket like that and making loud noises. What's up with that? Today we are going to talk about the night watch of Chinese history, a career that's almost as old as Chinese people's been around and only recently been abolished, or not really abolished, but shall we say only recently evolved in the last 100 year or so. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and not knowing what time it is, how long it is before you have to get up and go to work? You blindly fumble around reaching for your phone and you grab your phone to check. Oh, it's only 4 a.m. Okay, I can sleep another 2 hours. And then you put your phone back and then you roll over, get comfortable, go back to sleep. Now just imagine yourself 500 years ago. You wake up in the middle of the night, it's pitch dark, there's no sun outside, there's no clock on the wall, and you don't even have a pocket watch. Obviously, no cell phone, no electronic of any kind. How would you know if it's time to go to work? How would you know how much time you have to go back to bed? Well, the night watch was your main source of checking time in the middle of the night. So you would lay there in bed and maybe you would hear the guy in the distance, or maybe you hear the guy just outside your door doing his patrol. And just going by what he's saying or the rhythm of his ringing the gong, you can determine, oh, it's 3 a.m. or whatever. So you can say that the night watch for many thousand years served as the very accurate way for people to tell time, to know when to go to bed, when to get up, and how much time they can sleep. Now, who were these night watch? Well, most of them were retired people. Most of them were retired people or people who just couldn't find work. If you happen to be uh, a little bit disabled, but you are still mobile. If you are mobile, but a little bit, but if you are disabled for some reason, or mentally challenged or something, uh, you were unable to go work the farm. You were unable to join the military. You are unable to become a merchant or something. Then, congratulations, you can go to the local magistrate and apply to be a night watchman. And when you become a night watchman, you are equipped with four main instruments or four main equipment. Your equipment set, when you go into your inventory, your equipment set consists of a brass gong about the size of a small, uh, a large plate, a small cookie sheet. When you hit it, it will make nice ringing sound like that. Okay? You also, your second equipment is a bamboo block. So it's a block of bamboo that's kind of oval, long oval shape, skinny on the both end and flat and wide in the middle. And so when you hit it, it makes this short but really loud sound. Okay? Your third item is your drumstick. Right? There's a short stick, usually made of bamboo or wood, that you use on the bamboo block or you use on your cymbal. Your number four item is your lantern, so you don't have to walk around in the dark. And those are your four essential equipment as a night watch. So sorry, dude, you don't get a sword, you don't get a baseball bat, you don't get an axe or stuff like that. Now, obviously, if you want to carry something around for self-defense, that's your choice. But keep in mind, in throughout Chinese history, any kind of military grade knife, swords, spear, stuff like that was highly restricted. You guys think that nowadays we have strict knife law. Back then, knife law were even worse. Like back then, if you carry a spear, for example, if you're a civilian and you carry a spear, that's a no-no. That's a penalty worthy of going to jail. So if you wanted to carry something for self-defense, then you probably just grab something out of your kitchen, like a meat cleaver or something like that. Uh, So, how does the whole thing work? Well, obviously, as a night watch, your job is to walk around at night. Keep in mind, throughout almost every dynasty, Chinese people have been under very strict curfew. Usually means after sunset, there's no loitering on the street, there's no leaving the city, or there's no coming into the city. This was not to control the people, but so much as it's to cut down on crime and also prevent bandits and highwaymen and large gangs from pillaging and raiding and then running away. So at night, the city gates would be closed and people would be encouraged to stay inside. The only people that could be outside were people with special permits, such as doctors, maybe uh, delivery drivers that like own wagons and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, most people cannot be outside. Other than, of course, the night watchman. So as a night watchman, your job was to walk around every street, every alley, and with armed with your uh, working equipment. And as you walk, you make some noise and say something to let people know what time it is. For this video, I have gone out of my way to study up on the ancient art of night watching, and I have memorized the rhythms they used to tell time. So I'm going to give you guys a live demonstration here. Now, before we start, let me quickly say that in the ancient time, they didn't go hour by hour. Okay, the time units for Chinese people were tracked in the way of gēng. Uh, gēng, we don't use that word today anymore, so you don't really need to memorize that. But gēng is a unit of time. used by Chinese people, and each gēng is about. Some people say jin. Okay, you will hear people say how many jin, but the proper pronunciation is gēng. Uh, gēng is about the equivalent of 2 hours. One gēng or one jin, so some people would say it, is about 2 hours time, and that's how they track time in the old days. Okay, so these night watch, they were also called 跟夫 or 打更人, means hour keeper, or 跟 keeper or 跟 people. If we go back even older, like 2,000 years ago, these people were also unflatteringly called rooster people, 鸡人. That obviously sounds like a derogatory term nowadays. So I'm glad they got rid of that. But yeah, they also call them rooster people because they were people that tell time. Okay, it wasn't meant to be derogatory. Just that's what roosters do. They make a lot of noise to let you know it's morning, and that's what 打更人 or 跟夫 would do. So, how does these uh, combinations of notes work? Well, when we hit the symbol, we get this. That's called a long note. Okay, that's called a long note. And then when we hit the bamboo, that is called the short note. That is, so we have the long note, and then we have the short note. Those are the two that you have to worry about. Now, let's run through you as a gēngfū, you as a night watch. You got to memorize these things. Right? So, your job officially starts at 7 p.m. That's your first gun. You have 5 gun you have to memorize. Okay, first gun is 7 p.m. And 8 p.m. Okay, so when you start work, you walk around, and your rhythm is one short or one long and one short. And the word that you say is the one that we hear the most common in movies called 天干物燥，小心火烛。天干物燥，小心火烛。Okay, you get one long note and one short note, and you say your line as you're walking around. What does that line mean? 天干物燥，小心火烛. Now keep in mind, you don't need to memorize this because this line is changed. It's different depending on which city, which province, which part of China you were in. So they don't all say the same thing. It's just in movies they try to make it understandable and simple. So they unified it to always say that, but you don't always say that. Basically, the what you want to convey to people is, okay, guys, it's 7 o'clock. It's sunset. It's time to light the candle, light the fire, cook dinner, but watch out. The weather is dry, everything's dry. Watch out, you don't start a fire. So watch out for your fire hazard. Be careful of your fire. It's time to light the lamp, light the candle because the sun has set. Okay, that's your first message to people for the first gun starting at 7 p.m. 9 p.m. you change your rhythm and you change your message. 9 p.m. you walk around. Now you hear 2 long notes. And your message changed to it's time to go to bed. Before you go to bed, close your door, close the window, make sure everything is secure. Watch out for thieves in the night. Okay, so the second message you send as you're walking around at 9 p.m. on the second gun is watch out for thieves. Make sure to secure everything before you go to bed. And you hear two long notes. 小心门户，防贼防盗。小心门户，防贼防盗。Something like that. Okay. Like I said, I did my homework. Okay. So your next gun, your third gun is 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. 11 p.m. Your beat changed again. This time, your beat is one long note and two short notes. And the message you send to people is everything is good. Feel free to have a good dream. Basically, good night, have a good sleep. I'm here watching over you guys. So your third message is very peaceful, telling people that everything's fine. Don't need to worry about anything. I'm out here. Everything's good. Okay, that's your third message for the third gun at 11 p.m. Gun number 4, the fourth gun starting at 1 a.m. Your beat is one long note and three short note. And your message changed to the day is cold, the night is cold, make sure to stay warm. The night is cold, make sure to stay warm, check your blanket and add some more clothes if you're cold. Check the fire in the fireplace if you're cold. Okay, so that is your message for the fourth gun starting at 1 a.m. And then your last gun is 3 a.m. The fifth gun. After this one, you can go home and go to bed yourself. Okay. Fifth gun is one long note and four short notes. And your message is getting up early, have a productive life. Getting up early, have a productive life. You're basically the alarm. You're letting farmers know it's 3 a.m. The sun's going to be up soon. Time to get up, get ready, go to the field, and start working. Your message is to let the boat people know that the sun's going to be up soon and the tide is going to be in. It's time to get your ship ready to sail. Your message to the merchant, the time is 3 a.m. The city gates are going to be open soon. So if you got to have things to ship out of the city or you are getting ready to come into the city, you get your stuff ready. Okay. So this is the morning call at 3 a.m. People back then did get up pretty early. So those kind of make us, those of us that sleep in until 9 or 10. Today, I feel like lazy bums. Hey, we have the luxury to do that. So, yeah, those are basically a quick rundown of your rhythm and your job description as a gēnggǔ and the stuff that you would have to memorize in the old days. Now, other than being the keeper of time, the night watch has much more uh, duties to them. They have a lot more to their job description. For example, if you are one of the very few people walking around at night, most likely, if there's a crime like a break-in or robbery happening, you would be the first one to see it and to alert everyone about it. So that makes it sound like a really high-risk career, right? But don't worry, the ancient people thought about that too. Is it because of that, the most night watch did not travel on their own? Most night watch patrols were in groups of two. So if they were to come across a crime scene or a crime being committed, most likely at least one of them would be able to get away. And honestly, with the amount of noise they could make, it wasn't very common that they would get attacked because if someone was trying to attack them, all they have to do is grab their drumstick and their cymbal and basically go. And next thing you know, all the neighbors would come out because everyone would think that there's a fire, right? So that's another function of the night watchman was to watch for things catching on fire. If there's a house on fire, if something caught on fire, they would ring their cymbal really loud and really urgently to alert everyone to come out and put out the fire. So they were your timekeeper, they were your security guards. So where did their money come from? Well, most of the night watch were directly employed by the magistrate, and they had a lot of perks to them. For example, night watchmen in the city of Nanjing uh, were allowed to use the bathhouses totally free of charge. And then the night watch in Hangzhou City were able to get free cooking oil every month. And other cities have different perks. Some of them get free meat, some of them get free rice, and stuff like that. In addition to the benefit and the money they will get from the magistrate, they also collect a lot of tips from civilians. Uh, these are usually given to them by big establishments and businesses. For example, a lot of uh, money places like banks or institutions or big jewelry stores or Chinese medicine stores would pay the night watchman a bit of extra. So during the night, they would hang around those areas more than other areas to keep an eye on things. During imperial exams, the imperial examiners and a lot of the students from all over China would flock to the imperial city, and there would be a shortage of hotel. So a lot of the scholars would end up camping out on the street, almost like homeless people. And but these are scholars with some of them have really valuable stuff on them, and they're always worried to get robbed or get things stolen. So these scholars too would pay the local night watch to, hey, during the night, can you hang around the tent area during this park or that park? Uh, just watch out, and in case if something bad is going on. So the night watch not only collect a lot of benefit from the government, they also collected a lot of tips and a little bit of bribery from civilians that wanted them to pay extra attention. Now, obviously, it's a very big responsibility. So, if a night watch was to be caught doing being drunk on duty or slacking off on duty, they could have their benefits stripped away as well. So here comes the $1 million question. If no one else was able to know what time it was, how did these night watch keep time? How were they able to know? Oh, it's 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock and 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. How were they able to tell what gun it was? Well, obviously, like any profession, people develop their own system of doing things. Uh, One of the most common device was uh, the hourglass. So they would have two containers, one filled with sand and the other one's empty. And there's a small hole that will allow the sand to dribble into the other one. So they can tell how much time has passed by looking at how much sand is in the bottom container. Sometimes they use water rather than sand as well. Now, obviously, not every city is advanced or rich enough to afford hourglasses for their night watch. So sometimes they went back to a more primitive way of doing things. So the night watch would light a long incense or a long candle in their home before leaving for work. And by observing how much of the incense or how much of the candle has burned, they could calculate how much time has passed. If those of you who have burned wood long enough and often enough, or candle often enough, you know that if you always buy the same wood or if you always buy the same candle, they almost always burn for the same amount of length of time, maybe like a couple minute difference. But like if a foot of oak will burn like another foot of oak, a foot of pine will burn at a different rate. So if you always get the same wood or same candle, then it's easy to figure out, oh, okay, so when it's burned down to the halfway point, then that's 2 hours, which means if I use up the whole thing, then that's 4 hours. Then I'll light another one, and then that will cover all 4 out of the 5 gun in the evening. Okay, so that's an easy way for them to figure out. Now, obviously, this is not foolproof because sometimes if the weather is cold or weather is hot or the wind blows really hard or the cat knocks the candle over, all that can contribute to the timekeeping mechanism messing up and the timekeeper would miss their mark. But a lot of them, especially the more experienced ones, have also learned to be able to tell what time it is by just looking at the stars and the moon, the position of the stars in the sky, the moon in the sky, and all that stuff. Just like a lot of us that been doing the same job or same hobby for many years, you don't need to look at your watch. You don't need to look at your phone. You kind of have a feeling, okay, we've been doing this for half an hour. Okay, so night watch could people developed that sensitivity to how much time has passed as well. So combining that intuition with burning a candle or incense or hourglass, that means the timekeeper were almost never wrong. The night watch or timekeeper of China have been an essential part of Chinese people's life and a vital part of our history for thousands of years. And it wasn't until this last 100 years or so that they started to fade out. In 1905 was when the first group of night watch in Shanghai got their title changed to night policemen, and their equipment from changed from symbol, drumstick, lantern, and bamboo block to a pistol, a police whistle, and a nightstick. Gradually, more and more cities changed their night watch to more modern police unit, and now there's nowhere in China that you can hear this familiar but ancient sound of the gong ringing in the night. 天干物燥，小心火烛。